The silver light didn't fade immediately. It pulsed from my pendant in slow, powerful waves, like the forest itself was breathing through me. Wolves remained frozen in kneeling positions, their heads lowered, their bodies trembling under a force none of them could fight, including him. Kael Nightclaw Alpha of the strongest pack in the region was still standing, but barely, his muscles strained. His jaw clenched. One knee hovered inches above the forest floor, as if he were fighting chains. No one else could see Dot, and for the first time in my life, I was not the weakest person in the clearing. I was the center of it. "What is this?" Ava whispered from the ground. Her voice stripped of its usual arrogance. No one answered. Her, because they were all looking at me. The word had not come from my mouth, Kneel, yet the power had obeyed. Me. My chest rose and fell unevenly as I stared at my glowing hands. The silver light wasn't wild anymore. It felt controlled, like it had always been there, waiting patiently beneath layers of silence. Kael finally dropped to one knee. The sound of it hitting the frozen earth echoed. Louder than it should have, the Alpha bowed his head. Not because he chose to, because something ancient inside me demanded it, and that terrified me more than anything. "Release them," Kael said hoarsely, still kneeling. "Lyra, you're overwhelming them." The way he said my name had changed. No longer dismissive, no longer cold, it sounded cautious. I swallowed. I didn't know how to control this power, but instinct guided me. I exhaled, slowly, and the silver light softened. One by one, wolves gasped as the invisible pressure lifted. Knees rose. Heads lifted, but no one stood fully upright, not even Kael. He remained kneeling voluntarily. Now, a deliberate choice. "The Moon-Crown bloodline," he said quietly, eyes locked on me. The royal wolves who ruled before the Alpha hierarchy was created. Their authority wasn't political. It was instinctual, absolute. A murmur rippled through the pack. Royal wolves. The word felt impossible. That bloodline was slaughtered. Ava snapped, pushing herself upright. "Everyone knows that." "Not everyone," Kael replied. His eyes never left mine. "The Moon Crown ruled all northern territories." Kael continued, his voice steady but heavy. "They didn't fight for dominance. They didn't compete for rank. Packs followed them because they were born to lead." The forest felt colder. "Then came the rebellion," he said. "Multiple Alphas united. They claimed no single bloodline should hold that much power. The royal den was burned. The heirs were hunted." A tightness formed in my throat. "Heirs," I repeated softly. "There was a rumor," Kael said, rising slowly now, but keeping distance. "One child survived, smuggled out before the fire reached the inner chambers." His gaze dropped to my pendant. The royal heirs wore that symbol. My fingers curled around the silver chain. I had worn it my entire life, and never once understood what it meant. "Why?" I demanded suddenly. My voice cracked not from weakness, but anger. "If you suspected something, why reject me?" The question hung between us like a blade. Kael didn't hesitate, because if the wrong wolves believed you were royal, they would kill you. "Silence," Ava scoffed. "You expect us to believe that?" Kael's eyes sharpened. "You weren't in the Alpha Council meetings." A chill slid down my spine. "There are Alphas," he continued, "who have been searching for the surviving heir for years, not to kneel," his gaze hardened, "but to control." My stomach dropped. "If you were publicly bound to me as mate," he said quietly, "you would have been exposed instantly. Every rival Alpha would have descended on Nightclaw." His jaw tightened. "I rejected you to keep you invisible." The words hit harder than the original. Rejection, because they carried truth and regret. Before I could respond, a howl cut through the forest. Not Nightclaw. Not familiar. Deep, powerful, close. Every wolf stiffened. Kael turned toward the eastern tree line, eyes narrowing. Too late, from the darkness emerged a figure taller than most of the Nightclaw warriors. Broad shoulders, dark cloak, eyes the color of burning amber. And he was smiling. Alpha Kael, the stranger, greeted smoothly. I had a feeling the rumors were true. My pulse quickened. The stranger's gaze slid to me, and something shifted in the air. Not submission, recognition. Double quotes. "Well," he said softly, stepping forward into the silver-lit clearing, "this is unexpected." Kael moved subtly in front of me. Protective, possessive. Kael demanded. The stranger's lips curved. Darius of the Bloodfang Pack. The name sent visible unease through Nightclaw's ranks. Was not a minor territory. They were brutal, strategic, ambitious, and their alpha had just walked into our forest like he'd been. Invited, Darius's amber eyes remained fixed on me. You feel it, don't you? He said, voice low and smooth. The difference. My pendant pulsed once. Strong. He stepped closer. Kael growled. Darius didn't even glance at him. The moon crown doesn't belong to Nightclaw, Darius continued calmly. It belongs to all wolves. He tilted his head slightly, and by ancient law, if a royal heir is discovered, they are to be protected by the strongest alpha present. The implication hit instantly. Kael stiffened. Darius smiled wider. And since you publicly rejected her, he added softly, you forfeited your claim. The clearing went deadly quiet. My breath caught. You have no authority here, Kael snapped. Darius's gaze flicked to him briefly. No, he replied. Then why did your forest answer her command, instead of yours? That struck hard. Kael said nothing, because he, Couldn, tied. Darius extended his hand toward me. Not forcefully, not aggressively, almost respectfully. Come with me, he said. Bloodfang will ensure your power is understood, controlled, strengthened, controlled. The word chilled me. Kael stepped closer to my side. You don't know him, he said lowly. And I know you. I shot back. The tension between us crackled, like lightning. Darius watched with obvious interest. This is bigger than your wounded pride, Kael, he said smoothly. If she stays here, other alphas will come. Not all of them will negotiate. My heart pounded. I didn't trust Darius, but I wasn't blind to the truth either. The moment my power awakened, the world shifted. I was no longer invisible. I was a target. All eyes were on me. For once in my life, no one was dismissing me. No one was whispering. They were waiting for my choice. The silver light around my pendant pulsed softly, no longer wild, but steady. Present, ancient. I looked at Kael, the alpha who rejected me too. Protect me, the man who humiliated me. Publicly. The wolf whose scent still made something. In my chest ache, then I looked at Darius, strategic, calculated, watching me like I was not prey, but potential. If I left with Bloodfang, I would gain protection. If I stayed with Night, I would face enemies immediately. But this wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about authority. And something deep inside me whispered a truth I hadn't fully accepted yet. Royal wolves do not run. They rule. I lifted my chin. I'm not going with either of you. Both alpha stiffened. I am not property, I continued evenly. Not Nightclaws, not Bloodfangs. The forest seemed to lean in. If the Mooncrown bloodline still holds authority, I said, voice steady despite the pounding of my heart, then I will decide where I stand. Kael's eyes darkened, Darius's smile faded, and for now, I finished. I remain here. The wind shifted. Darius studied me carefully. He began to clap. Interesting, he murmured. Very interesting. His amber eyes gleamed. I suppose we'll see how long. Nightclaw survives with every ambitious alpha in the region, aware that the royal heir has awakened. He stepped backward into the shadows. This changes everything. And then he was gone. Silence returned to the clearing. But it felt different, now heavier. Kael turned to me slowly. You just declared yourself in the open, he said quietly. I know you will need training. I know you will need protection. My silver eyes met his. Then perhaps, I said softly, you shouldn't have rejected your queen. His breath caught. The word hung between us. Queen in the distance. Another howl echoed, not Bloodfang, not Nightclaw, something else, something older. And this time, it sounded like war. End part 2.